the entire mid-Atlantic region was pounded hard by what forecasters are calling the storm of the century.
We saw it coming, but we couldn't stop it. And while Metro Detroit missed most of the fury, some of our children did not. They were trapped. They needed to be rescued.
There's 2 feet of snow on the ground, so there's always, I mean, that is a dangerous situation.
Once we got to Hazel Creek, we realized we couldn't cross it.
It's starting to get to a flashpoint now. It's a race against time right now.
We're not very experienced backpackers.
It was getting dark. We couldn't find the road.
It was just so unbelievable. I've never had such an experience in my whole life, ever.
Good evening, I'm Mort Crim. We've never seen a week like this. The Cranbrook students, lost in the weekend storm, are back home with stories they'll be telling for years to come. But you're going to hear some of them tonight. Joining us in this final segment tonight are Alyssa Cooper, her brother Dylan Cooper, Michelle Errett, a counselor, and Jan Reelitz, base camp coordinator. And I should point out that Jan is Michelle's mother, and that Dylan and Alyssa are brother and sister. And let's get right to some of the pictures, Alyssa, that you brought back. You had a video camera with you on this, I believe.
No,
Somebody had a video camera. Still on video. I'm sorry. Okay. We have it on video, but these are still pictures that you brought back. Describe what we're seeing here.
Yeah, these are actually my shots. These are right here. That was just the first day when we came out.
Wow.
And the snow is incredible.
You weren't on your knees there either, were you?
No, this is I'm
actually up
standing
to your waist.
Yeah, and it just kept coming down. And this right here is when we decided to come back to camp, and eventually when we had set up camp and we were all together and we knew we were safe. Then it was great relief right there.
Had to be great relief for Mom. Jan, you were back at the base camp, sort of coordinating things back there. When did you realize there was a crisis?
I realized on Friday evening that the snow coming down so fast was going to accumulate, and that all my kids were out there.
Well, I'm sure you were worried about Michelle. Michelle, were you worried about your mom being back at camp, knowing what kind of snows were hitting?
I wasn't worried about her, but I was worried about her worrying about me, actually.
Typical daughter response, right? How does it feel to have gone through this experience for all of you, and to know that that you did it, you proved something to yourself, you survived?
I think, the greatest feeling was when we had hiked out. You know, after several days, we met up with another group, we hiked out, and when we saw a cabin is where we stopped at, and that was the greatest feeling once we saw we had made it out.
You know, I got to ask you guys, because there's been so much made about it in the media, about the deportment, the behavior of some students after the rescue. Cursing at reporters. We had one report that some student had spit on a reporter. Was any of that true? And if it was, how widespread was it?
Yeah, and it was true, but no, I don't think anyone actually spit on them, but snowballs were thrown and someone actually mooned them and stuff. But I think that was
so it was more pranks?
But it was,
yeah, it was just
I mean, whenever you get such a huge group of kids, there's always some who are out, you know, just to, I mean, but I think the general feeling was not of, you know, anger at them.
You all seem like a great group of people, and we certainly thank you for being with us tonight. And we know that what we have seen here tonight is much more indicative of Cranbrook, Kingswood than some of those reports that we saw.
Yes.
And thank you so much for sharing your experiences with us, and congratulations on being rescued.
Thank you.
I'll be back with a final word right after this.
Mike is still in the hospital, and here we go, the hugs and all the crowd coming in to greet flowers, balloons, signs, and the hugs of...
Inspired by what we have seen and heard tonight by these students and their advisors and counselors who bravely and heroically came through. That wraps up our special report, Rescued. I want to thank all of the Cranbrook students, parents, counselors who came in tonight. They made this program possible. Until the night beat at 11, I'm Mort Crim. Have a good night. Last night, before airing our live special on the Smoky Mountain survivors, I met with the kids and their counselors. They were a warm, friendly, exuberant group, but I found it hard to reconcile what I saw with reports from the rescue scene earlier this week. Cranbrook, Kingswood students cursing reporters, hitting them with snowballs, dropping their pants, and mooning the press. I asked pointedly about these accounts, and I got what I believe were candid answers. Yes, a few kids did these things, but only after one overzealous reporter shoved a microphone into the face of an emotionally distraught girl who had just been rescued. The reporter was boorish, the other students protective of their own, and so there was an ugly incident. They cursed the reporter, I was told, only after he'd gotten angry and swore at them. For the most part, they insisted, the press had been sensitive and the kids polite. What unfortunate distortions isolated incidents create. The poor judgment of a single reporter making all journalists look like goons. The overreactions of a few teenagers making an entire school look like spoiled brats. Stereotyping is an easy and popular road, but it never leads to the truth. Judging any group by its worst examples, whether reporters or students, is usually inaccurate and inevitably unfair.